Picture this: a year ago, this guy's life looked like what a lot of us wish our life looked like. He was that on-it friend. The one who actually got up when the alarm went off, not after 7 snoozes. He'd roll out of bed, grab a strong black coffee, hit the gym, sweat it out, then head to work feeling clear and locked in. After work, he still had enough energy to hang out with friends, start new projects, brainstorm new ideas. His days were full, structured, and he felt like he was moving forward. Fast forward to now, and he's describing something that sounds painfully familiar: dragging himself through the day, feeling empty, staying in one spot for 48 hours, scrolling, zoning out, not wanting to see anyone, not wanting to go home, not really wanting to do anything. Work that used to excite him now feels heavy and distant. It's not laziness. It's more like his brain has quietly pulled the plug on motivation. At first, he thinks, okay, this is my personal mess. Something's wrong with me. But then he starts paying attention. The more he talks to people, the more he realizes, oh, this isn't just my story. This is our story. Friends, colleagues, people in his circle, people online, different backgrounds, same feeling: tired, numb, restless, no real energy to push on anything meaningful. That's when he gives it a name: dopamine crash. Instead of framing dopamine like some mystical feel-good chemical, he breaks it down in a way that actually fits how real life feels. Most of us grew up hearing dopamine is the pleasure chemical. You eat a donut, watch a funny video, get a like on Instagram, boom, dopamine, right? But that description is way too simple. The creator points out something more interesting: dopamine is less about pleasure and way more about motivation and drive. He talks about 2 kinds of dopamine activity: tonic dopamine, think of this as your baseline. It's the background level your brain needs just to feel like life is worth showing up for. Not excited, not miserable, just okay, I'm here, I can do things, I can try. Phasic burst dopamine, these are the spikes. The rush when you see something exciting. The one more video hit. The sudden urge to check your phone because a notification popped up. All those little jolts. Now imagine your brain as a volume knob. Tonic dopamine is the minimum volume that keeps the song of your life playing in the background. Phasic dopamine is when the song suddenly gets louder, like the chorus hits, and you feel pumped. The problem he's describing is in modern life, we keep slamming that volume knob to max all day long: short videos, explicit content, junk food, gaming, constant notifications, so the brain slowly starts turning the baseline down to protect itself. The more spikes you trigger, the more your brain quietly lowers your normal. That's when you wake up one day and think, why does everything feel gray? Why does nothing excite me? Why do even small tasks feel impossible? Not because life suddenly became meaningless, but because your baseline dopamine has quietly dropped, and your receptors have become less sensitive after being hit over and over. He also talks about this idea of evolutionary mismatch, and it's a powerful way to understand what's happening. Your brain is ancient. It was built for a world where you had to walk miles to find food. Social connection meant sitting around a fire, not scrolling through 500 faces in an hour. Entertainment was stories, singing, community, not 1,000 algorithm-optimized clips per night. Back then, dopamine spikes were rare and tied to things that helped you survive: finding food, finding shelter, winning status in your tribe, connecting with your partner or your children. Now, you can trigger a dopamine spike by flicking your thumb, by opening a private tab, by ordering greasy food to your door at 1 a.m., by refreshing your notifications to see if someone reacted to your post. So the brain, which evolved to release dopamine as a way to nudge you towards survival and reproduction, is now being hijacked thousands of times a day for things that don't actually move your life forward. He also brings up dopamine prediction error, which sounds nerdy but shows how deeply our brains are being played. In everyday terms, it works like this: your brain makes a prediction: if I do this, I'll feel about this good. If the result is better than expected, your brain goes, oh wow, that was great, let's do that again, and increases dopamine next time. If the result is worse than expected, your brain goes, that wasn't worth it, and next time it releases less dopamine. Now think about social media, short-form videos, or explicit content. At first, the hit is huge. Your brain didn't expect that much novelty, intimacy, excitement, chaos, so dopamine shoots up. But the more you repeat it, The more your brain adjusts, okay, this is normal now. We over-rewarded this last time, let's chill. If it's not more intense, faster, wilder, we're not giving as much dopamine. And you end up stuck in this loop, same behaviors, less satisfaction, more time spent, deeper emptiness afterward. Platforms are literally designed to nudge that bar higher and higher, slowly adjusting what normal feels like, so you keep chasing the next hit. Over time, your baseline dopamine gets lower. Your receptors get numb. Simple joys don't land anymore. Real-world tasks feel impossibly heavy. That's the dopamine crash he's talking about, not a one-day event, but a long, slow fall. A big part of his message is pushing back against the trendy idea that you can fix all of this with a 7-day dopamine detox challenge. You've probably seen those videos, 7-day dopamine detox, reset your brain! 24 hours, no phone, new life. He doesn't fully buy into that. And honestly, he's got a point. If your brain has been overloaded for years, daily short-form content, late-night explicit browsing, gaming, marathon, stuffing yourself with sugar and fast food, sleeping at 3-4 a.m., then 7 days isn't a cure. It can be a good start, sure, but the main idea he's pushing is this has to become a lifestyle, not a weekend retreat. When he looks back at the time, he felt genuinely alive, not hyped for one day, but consistently stable and hopeful. His lifestyle was radically different. He worked out regularly. He cut sugar and junk food. He stopped drowning in reels and random content. He didn't game as much. He had real-life social connection. He ate cleaner, slept better, and used his energy on actual projects instead of endless consumption. And that's the key. His brain wasn't magically better. His habits were. From there, his solution isn't some secret hack. It's more like a series of tough but practical choices. He suggests things like cut or sharply reduce the heavy dopamine triggers, not necessarily forever, but for a meaningful stretch of time. Short-form videos, explicit content, gaming, binges, junk food and fast food, constant texting, and checking who viewed your story, binge-watching series just to avoid being alone with your thoughts. Split your digital life into 2 devices, a clean phone, only calls, maps, basic payments. No social media apps. No infinite scroll. A dirty phone, the older, slower device where your social apps live. You don't carry this all the time. You choose when to pick it up, instead of letting it own you. That might sound extreme, but in American culture we're so fused to our phones that sometimes a drastic line is the only thing that works. It's like locking the liquor cabinet when you're trying to drink less, not because you're weak, but because you're human. Use a laptop for most internet use. When you're on a laptop, you're usually sitting down with a purpose. It's less mindless than lying in bed, flicking your thumb on a phone screen for an hour you won't remember. Exercise, not to get shredded, but to trigger endorphins. Dopamine pushes you to do, but endorphins help you feel good while doing hard things. After a long walk, a run, or a workout, you feel tired but weirdly proud and calm. It's not the same empty buzz you get after a 3-hour scroll. It's a grounded, earned feeling. Value serotonin and oxytocin. Spend time with people you care about. Hug your parents, laugh with your partner, play with your kid or your pet, serve someone, help someone, do something bigger than your own ego. These chemicals give a quieter, deeper sense of this matters. I belong here. Clean up what you eat and drink black coffee instead of sugary drinks loaded with cream and syrup. Less sugar, less junk and fast food, more real food, vegetables, protein, simple meals cooked at home. Sugar spikes and crashes mess with mood, patience, focus, and sleep. Sleep like it actually matters. Your brain literally needs sleep to reset your receptors, process emotions, and clean out the junk built up during the day. Skipping sleep while trying to fix your dopamine is like trying to clean a house with the lights off. One of the most powerful parts of his message is where he talks about purpose. He says a lot of people try dopamine detox, fail, and then say, see, it doesn't work. But under the surface, what's really going on is this: they never knew why they were doing it in the first place. If the only goal is let me stop scrolling so I can, sit here and stare at the wall, of course your brain will drag you back to old habits. Because those old habits at least feel like something. He suggests writing down very concrete, human reasons for wanting your brain back. I want to be able to help my parents financially. I want to buy my own place someday. I want to be the first in my family to build a business. I want to be present with my future kids, not scrolling in front of them. I want my little brother or sister to look at me and think, that's someone I can trust. Those aren't abstract motivational quotes. Those are anchors. When you're in the middle of cravings wanting to open that site, that app, that game, those reasons give your brain something bigger to hold on to. Without that, it's like quitting without a destination. You put down one habit, but there's nothing meaningful waiting on the other side, so your mind just runs back to what's familiar. He also points out something we don't like to admit. A lot of us say, I tried detox, it didn't work, but if we look honestly, we were half in. Maybe we turned off notifications but still kept Instagram on the front page. Said no junk food but ordered pizza twice that week. Said, I'll sleep early but watch 3 extra episodes just this once. And deeper than that, a lot of us don't have a noble goal pulling us forward. No bigger story than I want to feel better. Feeling better is a good start, but it rarely keeps you disciplined through discomfort. A mission does. He ties it back to something very human. The people who stick with hard changes usually aren't just chasing a vibe they're protecting or building something they care deeply about. Their family, their future, their craft, their dignity. Another big theme in what he's saying is getting back to simple, low dopamine joys. He's basically saying, if you can get to the point where a walk outside actually feels good again, you're healing. Think about how different that is from scrolling equals time disappears, but you feel strangely unsatisfied afterward. Walking outside equals time slows down, but you feel more grounded afterward. He's not saying you need to move to a monastery or live in a cabin with no Wi-Fi. He's saying your nervous system needs long stretches of boring, normal, quiet in order to reset. To let tonic dopamine crawl back up. To let your receptors become sensitive again. That might look like sitting at the beach with your phone on airplane mode, reading a physical book instead of flipping through 10 TikToks per minute, cooking a simple meal from scratch, talking to a friend face to face with no screen between you. These things don't give you a wild spike. But when your baseline is low, they're exactly the medicine you need. He also throws in a cultural reality check. Many extremely successful people are paranoid about their own screen use. Some big tech founders limit devices for their own kids. Some entrepreneurs cover their laptop cameras, turn off all non-essential notifications, or don't even use certain social media platforms personally. They know how powerful and addictive these tools are. They built them or work beside people who did. And if they treat this stuff with caution, it's probably not a bad idea for the rest of us to do the same. Under all the science and strategies, there's a very human message in what he's saying. You are not broken because you feel unmotivated. You are not lazy because you can't focus. You are living in an environment that is perfectly engineered to overheat your dopamine system, and your brain is reacting the way any normal brain would. The way out is not shame. It's not calling yourself weak. It's understanding what's happening in your brain. Respecting that your nervous system has limits, slowly lowering the amount of artificial stimulation you allow in. Rebuilding your life around movement, real food, real people, and a real sense of purpose. And the most powerful part of his story is that he's not talking from a distance. He's saying, I was in a better place. I fell. I crashed. Now I'm climbing back. Not by chasing a new high, not by finding the next app, but by returning to basics, healthier routines, meaningful goals, and the kind of life where your brain doesn't need constant fireworks just to feel okay. That's the deeper meaning behind his idea of a dopamine reset, not a trend, not a 7-day stunt, but a long-term decision to stop letting cheap, fast stimulation call all the shots, and to start building a life where your brain can finally breathe again.